Okay, so I got the motor off. Now you can see the planetaries there and the clutch and everything else. That all looks good. Now, I have here this block that I bought at the Gravely Mowing for $20 from a guy. We're going to take this old piston off of it, and we're going to probably have to take the starter clutch off too to put it in. And so upon further investigation of the old machine, there's a lot of crankshaft end play. Watch, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but look at this area right here when I push it out. And there's got to be an 1/8 inch of play there. Plus the rod itself, it's got up and down play of about an 1/8 inch as well. So this thing is shot ski, as they would say. I'm not sure, like I said, it's not really economical for me to deal with that when I got this thing for 20 bucks. This thing has a nice tight rod in it. Pull it up and down, there's zero play whatsoever. There's a hair of crankshaft end play in this one as well. And what I did is I bought some shims that go under the oil pump that will try to tighten it up a hair without having to take the whole lower end apart. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to scrape this old gasket off with a gasket scraper. And then we've got a nice new gasket to put on there. And then the next thing we got to do is we got to take our piston out of the new block, which I did. So that's fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide the new used block on there and bolt it up. We got to make sure that we put the magneto coupling on there as well. Now I've got the gasket scraped off. You got to be very careful not to get anything inside the transmission there. What I use usually is this stuff Prepsol, and I want to make sure that the entire surface where the gasket mounts is nice and clean. So I'm going to wipe this off. It's a grease remover. Now what I usually do next is I just take some Permatex gasket adhesive. I just put a couple dabs on there, so what I do is I'll take this gasket and I'll press it in there and I'll kind of glue it on there, and it just makes it easier to assemble. You don't need the gasket adhesive for any real purpose, but I just put it in there to make it easier to assemble. Okay, now the gasket's on there and we'll assemble the block. Now I've got to take off the starter clutch. I take a cat's paw and wedge it behind the fan belt pulley. Then I put an adjustable wrench and then this pipe, which just happens to be the front PTO support lever for a 4-wheel rider for my snowblower. That gives me tons of leverage, and bam, comes right off. Now I'm going to use a puller. I'm going to remove the electric start pulley. But the reason I'm doing this is so I can get to the oil pump and replace the gaskets and put a couple shims in. Now what I did is I hooked up all my oil lines. I got all my bolts tightened up that hold the block in. This block must have been older than the other one because the diameter of these screws are like a 3/8 bolt, where the others are 1/2 inch. So on the original block, one was 3/8 and one was 1/2 inch. So I took this 1/2 inch one off and remounted it. Now, what I've done is I've taken off the oil pump, and I got this off here. You'll see these two gears here. They're what actually make the oil pump work. Now, I've got these shims here that I got from Richards, and these shims will go right in here, and we're going to try to take some of this play out of the crankshaft. Now, he gave me an assortment of thicknesses here. I have 3 of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to guesstimate how much I need to do. If you really wanted to be technical, you could measure this stuff, but I don't really have any measuring stuff and for this kind of stuff. So I'm going to put a thick one and a thin one in, and I kind of think that that's going to get me where I need to be. I also have a brand new oil pump gasket, so I'm going to clean up all this gasket surface here, and I'm also going to clean up the old gasket off of the pump itself, and I'm going to remount it and see if that's taken the play out of this. Now I've remounted the oil pump with the 2 shims in there, and now there's just a hair of play. So it should be just perfect for this machine. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take off these gaskets here around these valve plungers, and we're going to replace them with new ones.